Hey guys, what's up?
Hello, hello.
Welcome to the Severed Floor, a mysterious and important podcast where we deal with the uncertainty of the Apple TV Plus series Severance in a way that Kier would have wanted, together as a family. We also speak candidly about sensitive issues as they relate to the show, such as mental health, politics, bigotry, and reproductive issues, because it's important to normalize these conversations. I am Kelly Kay, spokesperson of Midwestern Blunts Inc.
I love that name. So good. I'm Jazzy S, head e-meter reader and thetan tamer.
I like how I Chicago'd it up and you LA'd it up.
Yes. We play to our strengths.
Yes.
Although LA is pretty full of blondes.
Oh yeah, definitely. But did you know though, I as the proud spokesperson for Midwestern Blunts Inc., I'm proud to tell you that apparently Michigan has now surpassed California as like being the weed state.
Oh my goodness. I never thought I'd see the day.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Michigan.
I actually really it's funny. I complain about certain things about where I live. Like I've mentioned plenty of times I'm from the Chicago area. I lived in the city like most of my adult life. We just moved out to the suburbs. And when I say the suburbs, I do mean the suburbs. Chicago, the city of Chicago is like 10 minutes from us. Um, but
Very
we're
cool.
we're in Indiana. Um, so we're over the state line, but it's like this weird little pocket. Like if you look at Lake Michigan, you see like this little pocket, and that's exact. We're in the pit. We're like right in the little pocket, which is great because we get all that. Our winters are lovely because of it.
Oh,
I say
you're
that
joking. You're
sarcastically.
saying that like a Chandler.
Oh my god, lake effect snow is
That's
it's a
why I
whole
moved to
issue.
LA, man. Winter of 2015 was the coldest winter in recorded history in Pennsylvania, and I was like, I am the fuck out of here. I can't
Oh
live
my
like
god.
this. Yeah.
But we also like we're really close to Michigan as well. I mean, we're less than 45 minutes from Michigan, but we're about 45 minutes from like some really cute beach towns in Michigan.
Oh, nice.
So we head up there in the summer sometimes,
That
like
sounds
on
lovely.
not on the weekends. Like it's got to be Jim's got to take the day off or something because it gets fucking crowded as shit. It's like all the
Yeah,
Indiana people are like, let's go to the beach.
that's the same way here. You have to go on like a Tuesday morning if
Yeah.
you want to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it's annoying. Like, and most of the Indiana people here they're afraid to go to the Chicago beaches because they think Chicago is like Hades or something.
Murder
So,
town.
yeah,
Yeah.
not even in the top 10 people,
No.
seriously.
Crime is
Um,
falling.
yeah. I have so much civic pride for Chicago. I like do not diss my town, man.
Nice. I
Um,
love that.
yeah,
I'm very defensive of LA too. I love LA.
yeah.
People
I
love
love
shit on LA.
I don't know, like, I'm old enough now that I'm kinda comfortable living in the suburbs,
Hmm.
but I love Chicago, though. I really do. It's just a great city. I miss it
If you're
sometimes.
10 minutes away, I feel like that still counts. You
Yeah,
have all
but
the amenities. If you're driving under an hour, yeah.
we're 10 minutes away, but we're 10 minutes away from the south side of Chicago, which is, like, residential.
Yeah.
Like, south side of Chicago is,
Chicago
like
proper.
it's all residential on the south side. Well,
Okay.
they're they're a bunch
Not to
of
turn this into a podcast about Chicago, but is the free zoo gone?
Oh, no, that's
Oh,
I don't think that's ever going anywhere. Lincoln Park Zoo. Yeah.
that was the worst. I don't want to get, yeah, it's a whole
That zoo sucks.
podcast. I grew up going to the San Diego Zoo, and did like a lot of educational programs through the San Diego Zoo as like a child, and they really work on making their habitats identical to the ones they left. Like, I mean, obviously there's not walls and cages in the wild, but
Yeah.
they bring in all kinds of flora and fauna and adjust temperatures and do everything they can to make these animals as happy and healthy as possible. And my ex was like, "Oh, you like zoos? Let's go to this parade of like cement boxes where the tigers are going insane."
Oh God, it's awful.
Yeah,
Like,
it made me so sad.
we used to go, but we would go to the petting farm portion, the petting zoo portion where it's all the goats and shit. And
Ooh.
we'd hang out with the goats and just not go anywhere else.
I don't know if I made it that far because I was not having a good time.
I don't think Brookfield Zoo, which is the other zoo in the Chicago area, is too bad. My funny story about the Brookfield Zoo is I stood up in a wedding for a friend of mine who got married. Not at Brookfield Zoo, but she had her reception there. And we had a cocktail hour with the giraffes. And I'm like standing there talking to somebody, and like my hair's all done and everything because, like, you know, I was standing up in the wedding, and I'm standing there talking to somebody and just like completely oblivious. And my husband snaps a photo of me. I'm like, I'm thinking he's just taking a cute photo of me. It was like a giraffe was totally like gnawing on my hair.
Oh, oh, that's so cute.
It was adorable.
I love a giraffe.
Yeah,
Like good
it was really
boys.
cute. It just came over and it was just like, tasty hair. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Let me gum on it for a while. Anyway, we're getting on tangents about zoos and cities and
Chicago. You could just we'll put a bookmark there.
You know, I also have to say, not to continue the tangent longer, but I also have to say, since I've just mentioned my civic pride in Chicago and the fact that I also live in Indiana, don't come at me about Gary either, because Gary is a fucking diamond in the rough, man.
Oh, who knew?
Well, the problem, I mean, there's so many problems. I mean, white flight destroyed Gary.
LA doesn't acknowledge that other cities exist, so
yeah.
it's hard. Yeah, geography is not my strong suit.
But like, if people actually came to Gary, they would see that it needs a lot of help, but they would also see the potential. I mean,
they have that whole song about it.
I know, right? I mean, the beach is right there, the lake, it's right on the lake. I mean, it's like beautiful architecture. Like, I'm telling you, man, they just need to, and they're starting to tear down the abandoned buildings finally, which is huge. So it's
on the rise.
I've never lost my faith in Gary.
Good.
But sorry for the tangents, guys.
I love to hear it.
If you're not familiar with our format, we usually start with a couple of tangents.
They're usually a little more connected to the show, but
yeah, I'm just gonna start putting that in our chapters.
Just
intro and
some
tangents.
flavor.
Yeah.
Get to know your host.
Yes. Intro and tangents.
Jasmine has zoo trauma. Kelly is passionate about Gary.
Yes. We mark our chapters in our episodes. You can skip past anything that doesn't interest you. Once we get started, we start with the recap, a detailed recap, which, you know, can help you like catch up on anything that you missed. And if you
it's
didn't
pretty
miss
detailed
anything,
this week, guys.
It is. I'm sorry. Like, there's just no way around it. Every tiny detail in this episode matters.
Yeah.
So
normally I can say the MDR room or, you know, whatever. I don't feel the need to describe what anyone's wearing the majority of the time, but like everything was so like her period clothing for each change and like all the different rooms. That's all stuff I felt like I needed to describe. And
so once the recap is over, you know, you can stick through that if you want, or just skip past it, and then we start the discussion. And that's where we add in our MVP and LVP and all that fun stuff. But and I kind of want to get back to, we used to do like teasers at the end of our episodes. I kind of want to get back to doing that because that's kind of fun. We won't always have something to tease, but
yeah,
you know, we have screeners now for the last few episodes, so like we can tease a little. You haven't even seen the next episode yet.
Yeah, I can't tease.
But I can tease a little something at least. But anyway, with and we are trying to do a better job of announcing our commercial breaks too. I started doing it and I just kind of forgot. But who's starting with the recap again? Remind me.
You are.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we just jump right into it?
Let's do this thing.
All right. So, excuse me while I adjust my headband. We open on a long-haired young woman walking confidently through an outdoor hallway on a college campus. The camera flips around, revealing it to be Gemma. This is a flashback to when she and Mark first met. Having an absolute meet cute, Mark and Gemma are seated side by side at a blood drive. Mark asks what Gemma is working on. She's grading a paper titled Themes of Religious Conversion in Tolstoy's Death of Ivan Ilyich. Mark laughs and reveals that he is grading All Quiet on the Western Blunt, drug use by enlisted soldiers in World War I. Amused, Gemma calls the student a genius, saying he should flunk everyone else in the class. Mark and Gemma shake hands and exchange names as the camera follows the tube of blood connected to Gemma's arm, draped over some machinery that looks suspiciously luminesque. We move down to the testing floor, where we see Gemma sitting on a couch, also getting blood drawn. A nurse, Sandra, played by Sandra Bernhard, is attending to her. Gemma seems to be staring off into the distance when she suddenly snaps back to reality. "Where did you go?" asks the nurse. Gemma simply gives a bemused smile. We're pulled into another flashback. Spring flowers covering the trees outside of the window of the room where Mark and Gemma share a bed. They explore each other tenderly and lovingly. Ragabi checks over Mark's vitals while the terrified Devin looks on. Devin pleads for more information, but Ragabi says he'll be sleeping for some time. She begins to ask Devin to help her bring some equipment upstairs when she snaps and starts shouting at her to not ever mess with her brother again, or she would throw Ragabi off a bridge. Ragabi tells Devin this is what Mark wants. Devin argues what Mark wants is to know if Gemma's alive. She is, Ragabi says. Incredulous at first, the news hits Devin like a punch in the stomach, and she sinks to the ground next to her brother in tears. Down on the testing floor, the nurse checks over Gemma's vitals in a room resembling a medical office. There are various Lumon branded medical equipment around, including an eye chart and a chart of goats. Gemma sits on the couch opposite the nurse, holding two smooth white rocks in her hands, while the nurse checks a machine that looks suspiciously like an e-meter for checking thetan levels. The nurse turns a dial on the machine and asks Gemma questions about what she's done today. She asks her about reading she's done and calisthenics, and then she asks if she were in a mudslide, if she would be more afraid of drowning or suffocating. Gemma responds drowning, and the nurse checks the levels one more time before unhooking her. Glumly, Gemma asks how many rooms there are today. 6, the nurse responds. And we are going to take our first commercial break. Gemma leaves the checkup and enters what appears to be a Spartan bedroom. She opens her closet to reveal one completely styled outfit, a red dress complete with accessories, wig, and shoes. Pausing for a moment to take in the ensemble, Gemma takes a deep breath and says, "Shit." After changing, Gemma walks through what appears to be her sparsely appointed living space. Taking a deep breath, she opens the door and steps out in the hallway to meet the nurse. They begin to walk down the long white hallways, similar to the ones we've seen upstairs, but these ones are all broken up in just small rooms, no windows. The title of the first door we pass is Allentown, followed by Cairns. We also pass Drainsville, Siena, and Loveland. They reach a door titled Wellington, and the nurse unlocks the door by placing her hand on a palm-shaped locking mechanism that draws a drop of her blood from the tip of her middle finger. Gemma enters, and we hear the familiar crackling of someone's innie taking over, however, missing the trademark ding in the elevator. She immediately looks terrified. She enters her room that's set up as a sparsely furnished dentist's office. The vibe is very 70s meets rejected set from a college production of Little Shop of Horrors. Enter Dr. Maurer, a deeply creepy Robbie Benson. We recognize him as the whistling man, bringing the dental tools from O&D to the exports hallway. He's still whistling as he greets the frightened Gemma. She begs for a break, but he says he hasn't seen her in 6 weeks. She shares that she was just here, but he just chuckles and says that he knows nobody likes the dentist as he coaxes terrified Gemma into dental care. Body tensed with fear, she opens her mouth to allow him to inspect her teeth. The rushing, crackling sound happens again, and Gemma is back in the hallway, rubbing her jaw in pain. She asks the waiting nurse how long she was in there, and the nurse informs her 2 hours. Still visibly in pain, they stroll the hallways back to Gemma's room. Along the way, they pass a door marked Cold Harbor. Back at Mark's, Devin cannot control her tears as she holds her sleeping brother's hand. She quietly begs for her brother to come back, but her voice doesn't seem to register. We dive through Mark's eyes into a memory of happier times. Mark getting off a less ominous elevator to find Gemma at her office at the college. Mark has brought her an ant farm as a gift following up their first date. Gemma tells him she said she liked plants, not ants. They giggle at the mix-up, and Mark pulls her in for a kiss. The kiss swings into another kiss in their timeline. Mark sits at his desk at home, complaining about being behind as warm summer light pours through the windows. Gemma covers Mark's face with kisses, obviously trying to turn his mind from work to play. She suddenly spies the crib across the room and is surprised that he purchased it already. He says it was on sale, and she asks who will put it together. Mark scoffs, saying he'll do it himself as he is very handy. Gemma laughs and says that he's more handsy than handy. Mark pulls Gemma into his lap, and they kiss again. We seem to fast forward through several years of cohabitance, books piling up and then disappearing, leaves and flowers blooming on trees and then disappearing, various scenes of Mark and Gemma studying both alone and together. A French song by Jacques Brel plays over this montage of happy moments from Mark and Gemma's life until we land at a brunch with Devin and Rickon. They're all laughing and joking about Devin's newfound love of rock climbing that she's picked up from her husband. Teasingly, Mark asks Rickon what's wrong with him. Rickon brushes this off, saying he belayed his first kuwa in middle school. They continue to talk about Rickon's love of the outdoors and his desire to have a ramble with Mark while they bicker. Devin goes to fill Gemma's wine glass. Gemma stops her, placing her hand over the glass, and Devin gives her a surprised look. Gemma nods and smiles, and the two sisters-in-law are thrilled to share this quiet moment with her. The camera focuses on Gemma's eyes as we shift to a sad one. Gemma's alone in the bathroom, wearing a slip and standing at the sink. She presses on her lower stomach and reacts to a sharp pain. Stumbling, she turns on the shower and steps in. We see the blood running down her leg as she sinks down into the corner crying. Mark comes in dressed in a suit and asks if she knows where he put his keys. As soon as he sees her, he knows what's wrong and he rushes to comfort her. She looks up at him with eyes full of pain. His memory wobbles again and he spins around to find himself at his desk at MDR. Miss Casey has arrived at MDR to supervise Helly R. Mark S. is surprised he hasn't been told. She said she's there to monitor Helly for signs of sadness.
We flow through the cords of Mark's computer into a new area of Lumon, the control room. We see eerie twins of Mark, Dylan, Helly, and Irving, similar to those that we originally met at Woe's Hollow. They're sitting in a circle of desks in a dark room. We focus on Mark's twin. He's watching Mark and Miss Casey's interaction through the computer screen. They seem to be refining data about their own counterparts. Mr. Drummond and Dr. Marr, the latter of whom is wearing a Lumon blue tracksuit with a 70s white guy afro and a porn stash, are standing over Mark's twin's shoulder, also watching Mark and Miss Casey. Drummond comments on Maur's fondness for Gemma. Maur declares that Gemma is fond of him too. Drummond asks if she didn't try to recently break his fingers. We're pulled into another flashback. Gemma and Mark go to a fertility clinic. We see Dr. Maur pass them briefly as they take a seat on the couch in the waiting room. Mark reassures Gemma that this is the next step for many couples. They exchange I love yous, and Gemma apologizes to Mark. There's a flash, and Gemma is now alone, sitting on the couch in her apartment on the testing floor. She sits there sadly, staring off into space. We move through several hallways in the Lumon building until we move into another memory. Mark is helping Gemma inject herself with IVF meds. They tease each other, and she winces with pain as he injects her with the needle. She blinks, and we move to yet another new section of Lumon. This appears to be Dr. Maur's office. He asks her how many rooms she's visited today, and she tells him 6. He names all the rooms she visited and asks what she experienced there. She says nothing. He asks her how she felt in the hallway. Did she experience any feelings of despair, fervor, gaiety? Ignoring his question, she mentions there's only one room she's never been in, and today that room had a name on it, Cold Harbor. She asks what happens when she visits all the rooms. He stares at her for a moment and then says, "You will see the world again, and the world will see you." She asks if that means she'll see Mark, and he says, "Mark will benefit from the world you're siring. Kier will take away his pain just as he has taken away your pain." She asks him to just talk like a normal person, but he bids her good night in the creepiest fashion possible and takes off. Back at Mark's, Devin wakes up in the chair across from her brother to find Ragabi checking his vitals. Devin asks when he'll wake up, and the doctor says when he's ready. She tells Ragabi about the birthing cabins where she met the severed pregnant woman. She wants to bring Mark there and see if they can make contact with his innie. Ragabi is familiar with the center, but tells Devin it's 2 different things and it will not help Mark. Reintegration is the only way to get Gemma out. Devin scoffs and says she believes that this is the way Ragabi will kill her brother. With her idea rejected, Devin suggests calling Harmony Cobel. Ragabi is immediately angry at the suggestion, insisting that Cobel will immediately turn them into Lumon, destroying all the work she's done fighting against them. She says Cobel was raised by the company and is a loyal Lumon soldier through and through. She tells her they will resume his treatments once he wakes up. Devin claims custody of Mark's brain and says she's going to call Harmony. Devin starts to dial her phone, and Ragabi sighs with resignation and begins to pack up her things into a box on the counter. She tells Devin she can no longer be a part of this. Devin puts her phone down and immediately begins to beg her to stay, but the doctor says it's not her choice, it's Devin's. She looks woefully at Mark and then turns and walks out the door. Devin calls after her, begging her to stay and telling her she can't take care of Mark alone. She asks what she should do if he wakes up, and Ragabi shouts from the front door, "Do not call that woman," slamming the door closed behind her. Devin crouches down near her brother, who is trying to say something. He's whispering Chikhai Bardo. The scene changes again, and Gemma is at the kitchen table taking a quiz that is suspiciously reminiscent of Scientology. He grabs a green card off the kitchen table, and it is the same card that Dylan found in O&D and stole, triggering the original overtime contingency. He asks her what Chikhai Bardo means, telling her that the card looks like 2 guys fighting. She corrects him, saying that it's one man fighting himself, representing ego death. Mark asks her about the quiz, and she says it came in the mail, potentially from a mailing list at the fertility clinic. He asks her why she's wasting time with it, And this annoys her, and she asks him why he's being such an asshole. They argue, and Gemma asks Mark not to tell her what she's thinking. Mark tells her he has no idea what she's thinking, and she says she thinks that she feels tired and beat to shit. Mark suggests ending their IVF treatments, and Gemma looks stricken and hurt. She turns her face away from Mark. Back at Gemma's apartments, we see her getting ready for the day with many Lumon branded items. She steps out of the room in 80s businesswoman chic and finds herself immediately on an airplane seat on a flight experiencing horrible turbulence. She clutches the armrest in terror. As the cabin shakes, she lets out a scream, and Maru appears yet again, this time dressed as an airplane steward. He shoves a pretty rough-looking meal at Gemma, telling her everything's perfectly normal, and asks if he can get her anything else. There is suddenly a violent bump, and he is thrown against the ceiling of the shaking plane, and then smash hits the floor. We move back to the control room, where Mark's twin is observing Gemma doing calisthenics in her room, while Drummond and Mara, in a Christmas sweater, watch her. He clicks over to the Cold Harbor file and sees that it is still stuck at 96%. Drummond comments that the nosebleed was a setback. He says once Mark is done with the file, Mar will have to say goodbye to Gemma. They watch her prepare her weird Star Wars meal of fizzing Lumon symbols, and Mar says that he is aware of that, and they both say, "For here." Drummond asks why he's wearing that ugly-ass sweater, and Mar just walks off without another word. Gemma readies herself for another room. This one comes with a wedding ring. She sits on the floor, writing hundreds and hundreds of thank you cards with her left hand. She has been shown to be clearly right-handed multiple times in this episode. Her writing becomes illegible as her hands cramp with the pain of the repetition. Mara's playing her husband in this scenario. She tries to put the pen down and flex her hand, but he scolds her, telling her that this is the last card. She picks it up and finishes writing resentfully. She glares at him and asks how much longer she has to do this. He tells her just until she's done, but Christmas does have a way of coming around every year. Through gritted teeth, she says, "It's always Christmas." Mara looks uneasy as Gemma is released from the room. Before he allows her to leave, he tells her that he loves her. She tries to push past him silently, but he won't stop until she parrots the phrase back. She walks back into the hallways, leaving a memory of the creepy room behind her, but her hands still aching from the effort. We see a flashback of Mark and Gemma's house. "I'll Be Seeing You" by Billie Holiday plays in the background as Mark sadly deconstructs the crib. Gemma cannot bear to hear the sound of Mark doing this and walks downstairs. Mark loses his temper and smashes the crib to pieces, while Gemma cries. Later, they cuddle up on the couch in front of the Christmas tree, Gemma laying in Mark's lap looking despondent. Dr. Marr knocks on the door of Gemma's apartment. She allows him in, and he asks her how she is. She says that her hand is hurting. He asks her which room made her hand hurt, and she says Allentown. After a pause, Gemma tells Marr that she wants to go home. Marr lies and tells her that Mark has already remarried and has a new daughter. Gemma does not believe him. Marr reminds Gemma that she's been gone for a long time. He tells her that Mark has moved on and perhaps she should too. He asks her if she feels pulled towards any of the rooms in particular. Perhaps she senses that in one, she may have something stronger than she ever had with her husband. He claims to have witnessed this for himself. He pauses to pull the Tolstoy book off Gemma's bookshelf that she was reading in the beginning of this episode. is commenting on it when he is hit in the back of the head with one of Gemma's chairs. After incapacitating Maurer, Gemma steals his keycard and tries to sneak out into the hallways past the nurse and to the elevator. After several tense moments of hide and seek, she's able to make a run for the elevator, but as she reaches the severed floor, the familiar sound comes over her, and ding, she is now Miss Casey. Back at Gemma and Mark's, Gemma prepares to go out to a party, urging Mark to go with her. He declines, blaming charades and the mountain of work keeping him busy. She tells Mark that she loves him, but has to press him to return the phrase. Miss Casey walks out into the exports hallway towards the door to the severed floor, but before she can reach the door, it's opened by Mr. Milchick. He tells her that her Audi came in for an art exhibition and got turned around on the wrong elevator. He sends her back as she protests and tries to come up with reasons to stay. He tells her, "On you go," and on she does. She enters the elevator, and when Gemma returns to her body, she is in a panic, realizing that she hasn't been able to leave the testing floor. The elevator door opens, and the nurse looks irritated. Gemma weeps and slides down to the floor, whispering Mark's name, as the nurse pulls her back up and makes her walk back to her room. Back at Mark's, we see 2 police officers walking up to the door. He can't bring himself to open the door to hear the news. He stares at them through the glass, almost knowing what's going to happen next. Back in the present day, we see Mark's apartment. He slowly starts to wake up on the couch, seeing a fuzzy outline of his sister hovering over him. Devin calls out his name, and he slowly wakes up, looking very confused. She asks Mark sadly where he went. He looks at her with eyes wet with tears. He has a final thought of Gemma as he first met her, her eyes crinkling into a smile as we roll the credits. What a sode.
I mean, obvious so Emmy buzz incoming.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way in hell there's not. I mean, if any episode is going to get it, it's going to be this one.
Yeah.
But oh my God, it was so awesome to actually get to see Gemma.
Yeah, like actual Gemma, not just like anyone's memories of Gemma, not Miss Casey, but like literally her.
And the 2 of them together, I mean, because there was so much speculation, like, 'cause we knew nothing about their relationship.
Yeah.
And, you know, we knew that Mark had made comments in the last episode about, like, he would have listened more and drank less. And we saw that they actually had a really happy relationship.
I know. I'm really glad we got to see them be happy together. It was really beautiful. I love the choice to shoot on film. Like, it looks so dreamy and beautiful and, like, just magnificent. It's a really, really beautifully shot, like, beautifully acted, wonderful episode of television.
Yeah, for sure. I had to, like, at the first watch through, I was like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I need to watch this again immediately.
No, I still don't know what happens. I've watched it 3 times, and I wrote a whole recap. I could not tell you what happened.
So I mean, it appears that they're using her as a test subject.
Yeah.
Right? So these are all fears of hers, right? Or things that she doesn't enjoy.
Yeah. Are these so are these every separate one, like she has like 50 innies basically? Is that how it's working?
Yeah,
like they're all much her innie, but they all have their memories wiped.
Yeah.
Each time. So is it one innie? Is it just her and her innie keeps having her memory wiped? Or is it a separate innie for each occasion?
Oh, no. Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, I think she might actually have a separate innie for each occasion.
Interesting.
Which is kind of crazy.
I originally thought she was taking the place of the women who were out in the world.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, I want to be severed for my dentist appointment from 2 to 4 on Thursday, and somehow, like, Gemma's consciousness replaced theirs, but that doesn't make sense with her, like, little outfits.
Yeah.
All her little get-ups. Like,
here's my theory on that, okay? I think that here's my theory as to why there are different, like, time periods represented. I feel like perhaps her fear of flying might be from something that happened as a kid.
That's an interesting observation.
So that's why it's, like, in that time period, you know what I mean? So that it basically affects that memory, like, it kind of overrides it from, like, every possible perspective. I mean, like, it replicates it. You know what I'm talking about? So, like, obviously, if it happened when she was a kid, she wouldn't be dressed as a little girl because she's an adult now, but the environment would be made to appear as it did back then. And as for the thank you cards, because that clearly was something from before she was born.
Yeah. She says it. She says she hates writing thank you cards.
Right.
Yeah.
It could have come it could have come from something like, I mean, maybe it was, like, passed down. Maybe, like, it was such a shunned tradition in her family because the women in her family hated it so much for some reason. And
that makes sense. I hate writing thank you cards.
Yeah. So, like, her grandmother hated it with a passion. So Gemma's mother wasn't raised to, like, prioritize thank you cards. So when she was forced to do it on a few occasions, she absolutely hated it. And that ended up getting transferred down to Gemma too, because Gemma was never pressured to write thank you cards because her mom hated it so much.
Why do you think he made her do it with her left hand? Was it just to torture her?
Because that's probably because her grandmother probably was forced to write with her.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
That's literally what happened to me.
Yeah, it probably started with her grandmother.
Yeah.
And, like, it's and her I mean, even her mother, like, even with you, you know, you're young, you're a lot younger than me. So, and when I was in school, like, I don't recall the left-handed kids being like, I remember actually the kids having their own scissors and stuff, you know, the left-handed kids having their own scissors and stuff. So I mean, it's possible that even Gemma was pressured to write with her, or no, Gemma's right-handed.
Yeah, she's right-handed.
Yeah.
She was writing with her
past
left.
life memory. Like, she might hate writing thank you cards because of a past life memory where she was forced to write with her non-dominant hand. You know?
Don't hate that.
So yeah, which is super fascinating because then it explores, like, the lengths that they're going to override these fears. They're going all the way back to, like, people's past lives.
It seems to me that they're trying to find a way to fully remove discomfort and unpleasant circumstances for the wealthy.
Yeah.
Most likely. But yeah, like, I feel like that's what they're doing, right? They're putting them in these horrible situations on the testing floor. The refiners are tracking the emotions that are being read back. That's all I got. Question mark, question mark, question mark, profit.
And I have a feeling that she may have, like, obviously we know that she was taking quizzes.
Mm-hmm.
So they were screening people.
Mm-hmm.
She
the first thing that happened was they got her blood.
Right.
They had to have like found something in her blood that they were like, this is the Betty. This is the one we're going for. I think they picked Mark and Gemma together because they're traumatized from losing their child. I think that's like the main reason. But I think they've been after Gemma specifically.
Well, I think that they targeted Gemma likely because they probably through the various quizzes they sent her, they probably targeted her because I'm guessing maybe she has more anxiety than, like, she probably has a medical history of anxiety, and
I can believe that.
and has panic attacks and phobias, more so than the average person. And so they thought that they probably saw this and thought that, like, she would make a great test subject because she has all of these different fears. Whereas, like, you take somebody like me, I have about one phobia, and that's pretty much it. And
what is it?
Sharks. Like, I can't even look at them.
That's fair.
Like, I would be a terrible test subject because that's not even like a practical thing to it
is if you live on the West Coast.
Yeah.
People should be more afraid of sharks.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so like somebody who has a lot of anxiety and who has a lot of phobias would be perfect for that. And I'll bet you that they went through the fertility clinic specifically because I bet you we're going to find out that there is some kind of fertility crisis.
Yeah.
Much like in Handmaid's Tale. Which brings me to, let me just bring this up here. So I tried to get a better picture of it, but you can't really see it. If you look at the corner of this photo, and I apologize to our audio listeners. Actually, before I describe this, we're going to take a really quick break for a commercial.
Oh no.
And okay.
I mean, yes. Sorry. No break.
Okay, and we're back. So I tried to get a better picture of this, and I apologize for our audio listeners, and for our video and for our viewers because this isn't a very good picture. But the intake form for the fertility clinic, you can see in the corner it says Bootsman or Buttsman fertility clinic, and if you look it up, if you Google Buttsman, or Bootsman, however it's pronounced, it's Butzmann. It's a German figure similar to the boogeyman, a ghost or demon that scares children. The word Bootsman literally translates to boogeyman. It's a faceless goblin or ghost. Faceless, very interesting. Faceless goblin or ghost, may appear gnome-like, demonic, or ghostly. Hides in dark corners under the bed or in the closet. Attacks children who stay up past their bedtime. Comes out of wardrobes or from under the bed at night. Scratches at the window. So fierce. They're literally exposing Gemma to her boogeyman.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I can't deal with how creepy Dr. Maurer is.
I know.
He's making me so uncomfortable. That girl does not want anything to do with you.
No, she doesn't.
Leave her alone. Leave her alone.
Now here's the good news, okay? Here's the good news. A lot of people are speculating that Cold Harbor could possibly be Gemma's death.
Yeah.
That's not going to be it. It's going to be Mark's death. And
by drowning.
Possibly. But she's basically going to experience Mark's death.
Interesting.
But
do you think Mark actually dies?
No.
Or I mean, it's just her seeing that. Okay.
Yeah. He's the star of the show. So,
I know.
I mean, he can't die, but like it could be the death of his outie, but they can't kill his outie now because he's reintegrated.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He may have to play along. I don't know. Like basically he's going to have to find out from Cobel or somebody what the fuck Cold Harbor is.
Yeah. Speaking of Cobel, what was Devin thinking?
I don't know.
What on earth was Devin thinking? Like, what a crazy suggestion.
Yeah.
But, that woman, like, hid your baby from you.
I know.
Like, let's call her for help. Sure, it's a toss of the dice.
Seriously. But it's... What was I going to say?
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it explains a lot why, like, you know, in the season 1 finale, when Cobel was hugging him as Mrs. Seldig, she was like, "Get away from them.
Don't go back. Don't go back, Mark."
Yeah. Yeah, she said, "Get away from them." So it annoys me that she wasn't more sympathetic to him or forthcoming. I'm guessing she couldn't be more forthcoming. And I think that the reason that she suggested that Lumon was afraid of her is perhaps because by getting close to Mark, she has some power because she could tell him what Cold Harbor is.
I imagine she probably has a lot of dirt on everybody too.
Yeah. And the thing is, if Mark finds out what Cold Harbor is, they're fucked because all he has to do, well, I mean, he could just not go back there, but he also could go back there and just play along and pretend that all they have to do is like pretend that his outie is dead. Mark Scout is dead. Mark S is there at Lumon. He talks
Put me on the testing floor.
Yeah, put him on the testing floor, or they bring Miss Casey back and he manages to like talk to her and explain everything to her. And then they work together to get a message to Gemma. Either that or just let him know, hey, I'm going to kidnap you, like to get you out of here.
I'm sure she's used to it.
Yeah. And then they just, he gets her out of there. So he basically just needs to go back and play along. But he has to, in order to play along, he has to know what Cold Harbor is. Obviously, I could be totally wrong on this, about all of this, and this could actually be leading up to Gemma's death. But I don't think that's the case. I mean, anyway, that's my theory. What are your thoughts on it?
I assume that it's one or the other. I mean, it sounds like it's her.
Yeah.
From them being like, you're gonna have to say goodbye to her. Fakir. But yeah, I kind of think she could. It's the fact that she died in a car accident. We see that picture of the car going off the bridge in the opener. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She that with her with Sandra Bernhard, who awesome cameo, by the way. Love Sandra Bernhard.
Yeah.
Like when they're discussing would she rather suffocate or drown, and she says drown, and Sandra Bernhard's like, and then like the needle goes up. I feel like her car that's gonna be her car crashing off the bridge and her having to like try to escape the car before she drowns.
Yeah.
would be Cold Harbor.
I
I
mean,
hope not.
it makes sense, but yeah, I mean, I definitely like. I also think that it could be the death of Gemma.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like it's got to be one of the two.
yeah, it's not her physical death, but the death of Gemma.
Gemma, but like
Gemma's
her innies live
consciousness.
on.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, can you imagine how fucking fucked up and traumatized that person would be if all her innies were like integrated into one?
Yeah.
Poor woman. Like, what a dark, horrible, like, fate for this like wonderful, beautiful woman. That's so
I
sad.
know.
Um,
I know.
it just seems like Gemma's such a, like, we only get, this is the first taste we get of her at all, and she just seems so wonderful and so good for Mark, and like, fits right in with his family. And it's crazy how like bright and light and full of like bustling life all of her like pre-lumen frames are. Like, she's just always surrounded by people, and there's all this hubbub going on, and then now she just like sits in a like stark house room
I know.
with a no TV. What the fuck is that about? That's torture. Come on now. At least she could be
Oh my
watching Yellow
god.
Jackets.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
She
I
could be
would,
watching Severance.
exactly. And then she could figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
So I lost my train of thought. Uh, what the fuck was I just talking
Here's what
about?
this is all leading up to, though. Here's what this is going to all lead up to, though. This is going to lead up to, we're going to get the pregnancy storyline
Yeah, that's coming.
with Helly/Helena. And it's going to end up with the three of them in a throuple relationship raising the child
Yes,
together.
that's what I said. Yes, they're both hot. Like, I think they could work it out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty queer, so maybe I'm just being an optimist, but
I could totally see it happening.
yeah, why not?
I mean,
They all deserve it.
as sucky as Ryan Murphy is, he did give us one throuple in American Horror Story.
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
What season was that?
in Asylum.
Oh, I got to the Santa Claus episode and I checked out.
Okay. Yeah, the throuple happens kind of towards the end.
Yeah.
And it did not end well.
It never does.
Yeah, it didn't. It
It
was
never
bad.
does. That man can't end the show to save his life. I didn't say that. Cut that. Cut that. Cut that. He's great.
I mean, like, the throuple situation did not have a happy ending at
oh,
all.
that's how
But
Riverdale ended too.
yeah. Oh.
All four characters dating each other.
Oh, damn. Wow.
Yeah,
How about that?
progressive.
I mean, that's kind of what happened in the Archie comic books. I mean,
Is it?
well, I mean, they not all at the same time, but like,
Yeah.
Betty and Veronica and Archie. Well, I mean, it really was Archie going back and forth between Betty and Veronica.
Yeah.
Reggie and Veronica going back and forth between Archie and Reggie. But like, poor Betty just got stuck with Archie. She just always had, and like, I remember there was one issue of Archie comics where like they were at the beach and Betty always had her hair in a ponytail, and she let her hair down. It was like the only time in her life that she let her hair down, and like all the guys were like hitting on her.
Warming.
Oh my god, her hair comes out of her ponytail. It's magic.
That's so funny. On the WV version, Jughead and Betty and Archie and Veronica all end up in a quadruple. I don't know what you would call it with four.
Gotcha. Huh,
But
interesting.
That's like the only good thing they did with that show.
Yeah.
Damn, I need to stop talking shit on TV people while I'm still looking
no,
for a
it's
job.
perfectly okay. I talk shit on The
I
Walking
can't
Dead
help
all
it.
the time.
I'm always like, I would take any job in the entertainment industry, and fuck you, Ridley Scott. Like, just
Hey,
I need to
have
like
you
direct my
listened to our
anger
Walking
less
Dead
resentment.
coverage? It is not positive, okay? But anyway, yeah, so that's what I think is going on with Cold Harbor and why I think they're doing like the different time periods. But like Dr. Maurer said, when she gets to Cold Harbor, she'll see the world and the world will see her.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It means that perhaps she'll actually be free from this. So maybe it won't lead to Gemma's death because maybe they'll finally let her go and she'll be free. But
I'm talking about here taking away his pain
by killing him.
Yeah. Well, he said like just like he took away your pain, which she's obviously still in tons of pain all the time.
Yeah. But she's not, when she's with her innies, she doesn't, when it's her innies, she doesn't have the trauma of having miscarried a child.
Yeah.
And I think that perhaps with what will happen with Cold Harbor is that like something even greater than that trauma of losing a child, of having a miscarriage will happen, which is watching your husband die. And she'll no longer like that will override the trauma of her miscarriage, and they'll somehow make her forget about it.
I bet she's gonna try to save him and then she'll drown. Trying to like helping him out of the water or something.
Yeah. And I don't think that they're actually trying to, I don't think they're going to try to physically kill Mark. I think they'll try to kill Mark Scout's consciousness.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Cuz that would be, I mean, I can't, not to say that like corporations haven't killed plenty of people, but
that part.
They
but, love it.
I mean, I don't think that they're going to be so open about, hey, we're going to kill people as test subjects. Like that's actually part of our plan, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think that would be a thing, but you know, who knows? But yeah, so that's my theory on it. Like at first I was like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Now I feel like I have it all figured out. Which means I'm sure all of this is complete bullshit and I'm going to be wrong about everything.
I feel like you're on a pretty good track.
Yeah. But I mean, like, but I thought that was genius. Like, you know, the boogeyman, like, and why they're going through the fertility clinic. You know, and it could be for lots of reasons. Maybe there's a fertility crisis. Maybe, I don't know how like anti-anxiety meds might affect pregnancy. Like perhaps that's an issue and maybe they cause like miscarriages. I don't know, but that could be an issue. Like so Lumon decided to go through the fertility clinic because they figure like if they target women who've had multiple miscarriages, then they might be finding women who are on anti-anxiety meds for various reasons. You know what I mean?
I feel like, yeah. I feel like they're definitely going to try to give birth to another version of Kier.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think that that's Mark and Helly's baby, or do you think that's what they're like prepping Gemma for, to like carry their vassal?
God, I have no idea.
That'd be hella creepy.
But I mean, if she is like, I mean, if they basically turn her into like a completely compliant permanent Luminity, then I guess she would be the perfect surrogate to breed her, wouldn't she?
My new theory is that Kier is not dead. He's a head in a jar, like in Futurama.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and he's controlling all of this.
Yeah. Oh no, that's what I think the board is. I think the board is basically just all the Lumen
jars and
CEOs.
heads. That's yes. That's amazing.
I mean, because it's basically the board isn't. It's not They're not physical beings.
Doesn't sound like it
because they're available all the time.
It just sounds like they hunger.
Like. I don't know why that just made me laugh so hard. Oh God, I got the giggles now. It's
Oh, I want to talk about this before I forget again.
Yeah.
The tinsel. The tinsel on the tree in Allentown in the creepy Christmas room with the horribly creepy Dr. Mauer is the exact same tinsel that is on Mark and Gemma's Christmas tree at home. I'm wondering if is the whole world or the whole country like a union town, not a union town, but like a factory town for Lumen. Like, are there no more unions and it's all just like Lumen controlling everybody? There's so many Lumen products.
Yeah, the ornament.
I found that really weird.
It's decorated the same way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Mark and Gemma have more colors on their trees, on their tree, but yeah, it's clearly like
super similar. And maybe that's just an art department thing, but I felt like that meant something.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's all the same bell-shaped ornaments, which is really strange. But wait, hold up. I'm just doing some comparisons here. Okay, yeah, there's not too much solar on top of that. But I love how like all of these random appliances in the background are all that like that light blue color. They're all the same color.
I didn't even notice that. What is that? Is it just like a junk heap?
It looks like just all the things that she's writing thank you notes for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's like a fucking hair dryer and like one of those salon hair dryer chairs in the background. That's a pogo stick in the background. She had to write a thank you card for a pogo stick.
Pogo stick. Interesting. Red machine.
Oh my God.
I don't know what the rest of that crap is.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of junk.
What a nightmare. Did she have to write a thank you card for that ugly sweater and for his hair dye?
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
That guy does not seem cool. He really wants her to write.
Yeah.
A lot of thank you letters for no reason.
I think he thinks that he's gonna get her to marry him.
Oh yeah. I definitely think Allentown is off the books because like Allentown is the first file that Mark finishes. So if they finish with that file, why are they still using that room? And then when he's in the control room with Drummond, he's like, why are you wearing that stupid sweater?
Yeah.
And it's like, because he's off to have his secret like rendezvous with Gemma because he's obsessed with her like a creep.
Yeah.
I don't like that guy.
Yeah, he's a fucking weirdo. He is the boogeyman.
Yeah. I do not care for him.
Okay, what the fuck is this shit? That this food?
Yeah, let Gemma eat her globs.
It's like moose versions of food.
It's pretty.
It's very pretty. It's lovely.
Yeah, I would.
But
It doesn't look appetizing in any fashion.
it looks like a moose. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like. Like if you cut into it, it's just foam.
I don't feel like that one in the middle has edible flowers on it. What are those?
Yeah, that does not. None of that shit looks edible.
It doesn't scream edible to me.
Yeah. What did we have? My God. What this is what she has to eat. Like
I know, like every day.
tender cassava, flaky dinner something, crispy chip wheel, apple blossom.
Apple
Wow.
blossom.
That does not look pleasant.
No, it sounds like a great time.
So is
We
this
know the food at Lumon is whack.
Yeah. This is like total Jetson shit. It's like,
Yeah.
you know how like the Jetsons would have like a pill that would be like a roast beef dinner?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's like Lumen's version of, man, this is like, we should do it. We should totally do an episode paralleling Lumon and the Jetsons.
And Scientology.
Yes.
Make it a big one.
Oh my God.
I can't believe I didn't pick up on that comparison until this season. I'm embarrassed, but it's all there.
Now, some of the things, do I still have the picture of the cards in here? I'm like,
The thank you cards or the fighting
no,
cards?
I
think they're gone.
Oh, damn.
They would be up at the top.
Well, I did see, like, there was a picture in there of a guy with a dog, and I remember,
oh, there they are.
Oh, wait.
You did it.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. There's a picture of a guy with a dog, and I remember, like, when Mark was listing off the things about Gemma, it was like, she liked other people's dogs. I don't know what these other things are. Like,
no. One looks like wrestling.
Yeah. And then another, like, it almost looks like a guy pooping on a toilet. I don't know.
He is contemplating. He's having a deep think. Yeah. I can't tell what the last one is, the way the camera is hitting the light there.
Yeah, I can't tell either.
What are these cards for?
I don't know, but what she's filling out kind of concerns me because all I can read on it is something for life, exclamation point. Oh, that sounds foreboding.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Doesn't seem like a good plan.
But who was your so who are you putting in the break room this episode, and who are you giving incentives to?
Oh man, Mar, Dr. Mar is going straight in the motherfucking break room. Hardcore. Yeah. 12 years break room, 7 years no trials. I hope he has nothing to eat but raisins and lukewarm water.
Yeah.
And 1-ply toilet paper. I hate him. He's the worst. I've never hated a character. That's not true. I've hated plenty of characters so fast, but man, I hate him real fast. And then incentives are gonna have to go to Gemma. This may be the only episode we ever get to see Gemma. I loved me some Gemma. She was amazing. Even though I knew in my heart of hearts what would happen when she got to the top of the elevator, I was like so pulling for her to escape. She got so fucking close.
Yeah.
It broke my heart. Why?
Yeah, I know.
You sell out.
That's
but
pretty
yeah,
brutal.
Gemma's gonna be my incentives, and she will get a hall pass to let her the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
She will get the hall pass to free, the golden hall pass.
Yeah,
And
seriously.
get to go home and stop being pawed at by weird old men.
Right?
Yeah.
So since you those are I mean, those are
generic.
Obviously my picks.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick the backup ones.
Mm-hmm.
So the runner-ups. So Milchick has to spend a couple of hours in the break room putting paper clips on pieces of paper.
Correctly.
Yes.
Not all willy-nilly.
Yeah. And listening to Gemma tell him on you go just over and over. Or Miss Casey, not Gemma, Miss Casey.
Yeah. On you
go. And the runner-up for incentives, the consolation incentives go to Devin.
Ooh, I would disagree.
Really?
Yeah, she cost them Ragabi. Like, there's no getting, like, Miss Cobel has nothing to do with implanting the chips. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she was aware of the science and had, knew how it worked and everything, but I don't think that she has the skill or the ability to help Mark if something goes wrong with this deeply experimental procedure that he just had. And like, why wouldn't you want her to call the shots? Like, I get maybe not trusting her, but like, she has to know Mark is in this position because he chose to be. She didn't like sneak up on him and jab him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Like, I get her not wanting to like give Ragabi the benefit of the doubt, but like, just trying to jump in and make calls, especially calls that are going to get you all taken by the company, like it just didn't make any sense to me. Like, there's no reason for her to have any trust in Cobel. Yeah. Or like, she infiltrated your home. She lied to you about being a lactation consultant, and then she hid your baby, and you guys thought she stole her. Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, I guess that's the only connection she can think of that she has to Lumon, but
I just see, I just think that Ragabi is a little too bold for somebody who clearly is still learning, like, learning how to reintegrate people.
Yeah.
So I don't entirely trust her.
It does seem like she pushed Mark into doing something she didn't know.
Yeah, and we already saw PD die.
Yeah.
And it's so yeah, I don't yeah. So I trusted her at first, and now I'm kind of shaky on my trust of her. But I could also give the backup incentive to the student who wrote All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yes. Deserved. All the other students should fail.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with Gemma there. I would give Devin an egg bar because it's coveted as fuck. And I would give the student, just based on the title, it sounds like that student would probably would probably actually enjoy a waffle party. So
definitely.
So yeah,
definitely.
maybe I'll give a waffle party.
Somebody's gonna have one, or the tempers will get all unbalanced.
Yeah, exactly.
Then where will we be?
Oh my god, do you think I had a horrible thought.
What
if Gemma is one of the dancers?
Oh no, I refuse. No. There we go. All better. It didn't happen.
I feel like the dancers are probably test subjects.
Yeah, like most likely.
Because we know there's more. I mean, Petey said that there are people, plural, that live there that don't ever leave.
I think aren't they all white? I'm trying to remember.
I think they are.
I feel like, especially if they're using them as a part of a breeding program, they're gonna pick all white people.
Yeah,
like
probably.
Not that they're like. I mean, they have been openly racist at this point to Milchek. Well, see, not that they're like openly racist, but like, yeah, I could see them being on some racist bullshit like that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like it could be, I mean, just to double down on the racism, I mean, like she is Asian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's the whole like model minority thing,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I do feel like the dancers are probably test subjects though.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. They probably don't remember being there. Like that's someone's innies.
Poor guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Poor waffle partiers.
Oh God, there might be kids living there. Oh God.
Yeah.
Miss Huang might be Miss Huang might be a waffle party baby. I bet she's a waffle party baby.
You just blew this whole thing up. This is it.
Cobel might be a waffle party baby.
I still think Cobel is a secret Lumon, secret Egan.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I will bet you. I will bet you anything that, because I've said before that I think the waffle party is basically for breeding. And I will bet you that's what they do. Like the innies are all or the dancers are all test subjects, and they breed them, and they're the waffle party kids are just all raised at Lumon, and they're basically.
Robbie says that she was raised by Lumon. She's a soldier. Like, yeah.
God damn, man.
Creepy.
See, this is why you guys listen to us or watch us. We go deep with it.
We come up with some shit, and I enjoy it every week.
We make you hate waffles. We make you never be able to look at waffles the same way again.
Not waffles.
Oh God. But yeah, oh boy. I have to comment on the fact that, like, I don't know. I don't think anybody seems to agree with me on this, but I feel like in the Christmas, looking for the I think I lost. Yeah, I lost his close-up shot. But I feel like Robbie Benson in the retro Christmas scene was it kind of freaked me out how much I thought he looked like Kier.
Oh, interesting. This is going to be embarrassing, but I thought he was Fields when he first showed up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, shit. Oh my God. That's the same guy, right? He was like, no.
That would be fucked.
Yeah.
That would be a whole new layer of fucked. Holy shit. Wow. But yeah, like Fields is married to Bert, but he's trying to get Gemma to marry him on the side. Like, oh God.
Evil.
Which would be cool because that would mean that Bert is probably decent, which I don't think he is, unfortunately.
Oh no.
I just like, I don't know. I'm gonna be shocked if he doesn't turn out to be completely evil.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
maybe Irving will join them. They'll be an evil conglomerate.
Yeah. So Jazzy hasn't even seen the next episode yet. And we're not
gonna do that right meow.
Yeah. I'm a only going to tease like a couple of quick things. If you don't want to hear any nothing is spoilery. Obviously, I wouldn't want to spoil it for Jazz who's sitting right here, but
please don't.
yeah. But if you don't want to be teased on anything, then feel free to turn us off now. But just a couple little things that I'll tease about episode 8. So the episode is titled, is it Sweet Vitriol?
Sweet Vitriol, yeah.
Yeah, Sweet Vitriol. And it we will see Harmony in the next episode. Fortunately, she's been gone from our screens a little bit too much.
Yeah, the whole freaking season, basically.
And all I'm going to say is that Harmony Cobel has the best taste in music. Like,
I'm ready to see it.
We heard her playing Love Bites in her car. I mean, Love Bites, Love Spreads in her car. And she blasts another one of my favorite songs of all time, actually. Harmony Cobel manages to play two of my favorite all-time songs in her car. So, like, no other TV character in the history of television has had better taste in music than Harmony Cobel. So she's going to be my MVP next week.
Take it out, yeah, for next week, or just in advance.
But did you have anything that you wanted to talk about, or
I don't think so. I think just I forgot her name again. Do you remember what the director of this episode's name was?
Jessica
Gaines?
Gaines? I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name.
Jessica.
Yeah.
You were amazing, babe. Like, what a freaking directorial debut. Like, I can't imagine something better to put on your resume. What an episode. Like,
seriously.
Literally beautiful to look at. Haunting, like, horrifying, beautiful. Like, it reminded me a lot, I think we said this on the live, but of a Michel Gondry movie, like Eternal Sunshine or Rewind After Be Kind Rewind.
Yeah.
Like, just the, like, loose, like, dreamlike feel of it. It was just incredibly shot, and I was riveted the entire episode. Yeah, really good, really, like, maybe my favorite of this. It is my favorite of the series so far. And it didn't have any of my favorite characters. Yeah, so that's, like, really weird to say.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my final thought.
Yeah, her last name is spelled, it's Jessica Lee Gagne, however it's pronounced. But it's spelled Gagne. And yeah, it was her directorial debut. She's the cinematographer.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've already seen her impressive work, but I guess she, like, really did not want to direct to this episode. Like, she
I heard
a lot of anxiety about it.
Into it. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And
good for her,
it was brilliant.
We need more female directors. If you're out there, go direct.
She's riding high this week for sure.
She deserves it.
Yeah. She's gonna have some Emmy buzz for sure. All right. So should we skedaddle on out of here then?
Let's do this.
All right, guys. Please join us every Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, for our Severance after party. Obviously, it's not really a true after party because we're doing it the next day, but yeah.
It's still
every Friday, right? Every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We only have 3 left, and Dawn joins us for those. I know, it's sad. Also, check out our Yellow Jackets coverage. That show currently is running. The 4th episode just aired, so we're not even halfway through yet. We also do an after party for Yellow Jackets every Sunday, right after the episodes air on Showtime. And we usually have our recaps up by Thursday night when it airs, and we're hoping that we'll have both Yellow Jackets and Severance recaps up right after the shows air.
Yeah.
So these should be available right away. Fingers crossed if all goes well this time.
We can do this probably. I'm gonna get hit by like an asteroid.
Oh my gosh.
Or like carried off by a pack of muskrats. I don't know.
But thank you all so much for your patience, because this has been really trying. We finally got our screener access, so we can actually do the episodes in advance, which is a massive relief. Yeah. It's a massive relief for us. It's really difficult.
It's insane. I did not understand how much harder it would be without screeners. Like, I was not prepared.
It's enough for me to say that I'm never doing it again.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I would either at this point.
Yeah, so it's good that we finally got Severance screeners, because otherwise I don't know if we'd be doing season 2. Because it's just, I actually enjoy, now that we've had a taste of doing it without screeners, I actually enjoy it more that way. But
watching the show,
yeah, like not having everything in advance, you know what I mean?
I kind of like the way they're only giving us one at a time.
Yeah,
that's an interesting format, because I have no self-control. If I have the episodes, I'm gonna watch them.
Same. But yeah, I enjoy like kind of being able to speculate at the same time as everybody else. But it's just not practical from a content creation perspective. It's really fucking hard. If you're only covering one show, then sure, it's a lot easier, but it's hard, guys. And if you want to like be competitive at all, you absolutely have to have screeners.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, everyone else has their content out before you. And it's like we've been a week behind on our Severance coverage because of it. So now we can finally, for the last few episodes at least, we can finally have our coverage be more timely. So thank you if you've been sticking with us throughout the season.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely.
We really
thank you guys.
And with that, we hope to see you guys Friday, maybe, hopefully. And praise Cure.
Praise Cure.